stay or should I go?
Should I stay or should I go now?
Recognize that song? Hi, it's Sarah Jane from Access Your True Nature. And I'm here. I'm showing up. Not feeling so good today. I had a really busy day today, and I just woke up and I just didn't want to get out of bed. I was feeling really, really tired. My nose was all congested again, and I've got a head right now that's kind of booming. Those of you who know me, my third eye is bright red. And I'm probably looking a little washed out, a little tired, because I really am. I'm feeling really, really tired. But I wanted to get on here because I'm really committed to showing up and staying and tending my garden, and my community is important to me. And I just wanted to tap in today and say hi and share a little bit about what I know about what animals have taught me about commitment and command, that command to stay. You know, if you think about a dog or a horse, when we're go away, the horse goes away. And when we ask a dog to stay, our body language really shows them that, you know, we're going to stay regardless of what other monkey mind commands are running in our heads. And you know, I've spoken about this a lot within my inner circle about staying and about commitment and what that looks like for you. And I'll say it again, you know, life is challenging. There are times when I don't want to show up. Most of the time when I get on these live Facebooks or I speak in my tribe, I'm petrified. I want to hide. I want to run away, but I don't, because I'm really committed to my purpose. I'm committed to getting my message out there on how I have not only healed my own life from subconscious traumas and day-to-day disasters, but how I've helped my clients heal from their own inner demons of depression and anxiety, because they've had some kind of spiritual divorce and they don't know who they are anymore. And I would say, in all honesty, that the past 10 years have been the most difficult ones of my life on this planet, having this human experience with my own personal health. You know, as much as I'm pretty healthy and fit, I get smacked with adrenal fatigue. I get incredible headaches still from one of the tumors that is still in my head. I've learned to live with it, and I want to quit a lot of the time. And I heard myself saying this to a client the other day, that I don't know how to give directions to my house in Johannesburg, that I still consider that my heart is in Cape Town, that I'm somehow in this crazy nightmare and I'm going to wake up and I'll be back in my beautiful home living the life that I had. And I realized that I wasn't showing up completely, even though I was, you know, living a good life. I was making the best of it. Hi Kelly. I had sort of one foot here and one foot still in Cape Town. And I still had a lot of regret there, and I recognized, hi Jocelyn, that I wasn't fully committed to playing all in. You know, should I stay or should I go? Life was working, but I really found myself, you know, saying I don't belong here. I want to go back to Cape Town. I want my life back. And I don't know, maybe you can relate to what I've been hearing in my head a lot this year, all that old inner crap of saying, why am I doing this? You know, it's too hard. Why? Maybe I should just quit. Maybe this isn't meant for me. You know, this is just too big, and I can't do it, and I'm all alone, and it's just too hard. And having a cry. I've been crying a lot this year. And this is not new. You know, I've done this many, many times, like I said, in my life, where I really get caught in with dipping my toe in. Even though I'm telling myself I'm fully committed, I'm just dipping my toe, you know, if I'm really honest with myself. And I've threatened to quit a lot. You know, I've questioned my ability to pull things off. I've questioned my ability, knowing my personality type of being a dolphin, being a very air sign. I have a lot of ideas and a lot of creations, and there's a lot of things that I can do. And completion is a big deal for me. I find it really challenging to see things through to the end. I'm a great starter, and this is why I love having community, where I have connectors and I have shakers and I have people that get things done, and it's their talent and ability to see things through. So, you know, I like to be a fire starter. I'm great at starting things, not so good at finishing. And last night I was still awake, you know, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Any of you that are dolphin types know that you're sort of wired and tired, and when everyone else is asleep, I come alive when my body's just saying, could you just knock yourself out and go to sleep now? And I was really reminded by the animals. I had a visit from one of my dogs that left me. Sky was one of my most beautiful husky dogs that I was honored to have share my life for a good 9 years. And he was reminding me the power of commitment. And I made the decision last night to recommit to myself, recommit to my purpose, to the fact that I'm living in the Highveld, recommit to my clients, and call it home, you know, to stop this crap of saying, this is temporary, you know, it's okay. I'm not walking away. I'm not going to threaten to quit anymore. And I probably will, but it's okay to have those moments of weakness. I mean, we all have it. And I'm not going to move through any more of this year really questioning or staking the success of my ventures, my businesses, on a 5-month experience of this year's had a lot of change. And things haven't shown up the way that I wanted them to. And you know what? Excuse my language, but fuck it. You know, just fuck it. Let's just get shit done. Because when we're afraid, we see ourselves as weak. And we question and we doubt and we have one foot out the door so much so that the opportunity of life can't find us. You know, just imagine... there goes Toby. You know, he's running around. He's 18-year-old, my cat, and he's still running around chasing lizards. He's having a great time. But he's got some challenges. He's got cancer on his head, and he keeps scratching off the scab. But he keeps going. You know, that's the power of the stay, right? The reality, for me anyway, deep down, is that I never really lost that commitment, right? To my work, to my life, to my family, to my relationship. But there are times when I wanted out of my relationship. There's times when I haven't wanted to be a mother. I've been willing to be a bad mother, and I do that really, really well. And people judge me for it, and that's okay. You know, I'm still here. I'm still showing up, doing the best I can every single day. And I'm showing up in a different space because I'm not the same person that I was 10 minutes ago. But there's a part of me that still needs to be reminded of that. And I'm so grateful. You know, dog is such a loyal companion. But there's commitment to our animals too. You know, they need to be fed. They need to be loved. They need to be walked. And I'm committed to making sure my animals have a great life. And that really is the stay that dogs teach us. You know, that's what Sky was saying to me last night when I was asking all these questions. He was just sitting there looking up at me with those beautiful blue eyes that he had and telling me to stay, to tend my garden, to show up even when I want to run away, and stay because I'm afraid. So how many of you listening to me can relate to that, you know, to look at where you're staying because you are afraid? Because we're told to avoid being afraid. We're told to rush through things, aren't we? And you know, I'm willing to reach out of my comfort zone. I'm willing to show up even though I've got a pounding headache and I'd rather be lying on my bed. And I know that when I'd lie on my bed, I wouldn't be fully committed to resting anyway. I'd be agitating and thinking, oh my God, I'm so self-important. I have too much to do. But I stay because I'm committed to grow in my own personal journey, but also to help people who resonate with my message to heal their own unresolved trauma and to look at the places where they're not fully committed to heal. Because yeah, you can relate, Jocelyn. Yeah, I mean, it's that thing about being human, isn't it? You know, and I love that analogy of a garden. You know, you can't plant seeds and tend the soil and get it all ready and prepare the bed and plant the seeds and then just walk away. It takes time to grow a garden. It takes time to grow a business. It takes time to grow expansive, nurturing relationships in our lives. And you can't just put them in the soil and think that, you know, that nature is going to take care of your seeds, right? You have to reach out of your comfort zone. You have to. Today, Thalia had a hockey match in Witbank, and I'm really grateful for a community that someone offered to pick her up because I had clients this morning and my husband was busy working. Someone fetched her, but there was still that commitment to say, okay, you need to be ready and up at 5 o'clock in the morning to make sure that you're ready for your ride, to get yourself off, and you need to get dressed, and you need to brush your teeth, and you need to feed yourself and be ready. And you know, that's the stay, right? That's the commitment to stay because you're committed to your own journey. Just like that garden, you have to water the garden. You have to put energy in order to reap the benefits of the harvest. And you know, like I said, dogs and cats, they bring so much into our lives, but they need feeding and they need caring for. You can't just, you know, decide, okay, this isn't fun, I'm not doing it anymore. Or, you know, like my daughter this morning, I don't want to get up at 5 o'clock, so you're not going to go play a hockey match, right? We commit to stay. We stay in the game. And you know, that analogy of the acorn, it doesn't fall off the tree and shrivel up because it's afraid. It's afraid, and it's impatient, that it doesn't want to spend the next 100 years growing and learning how to be an oak tree, because it's going to take too long to become a wise oak. You know, it puts down roots, even though there's a very immediate threat that maybe it's going to be foraged by little animals that are going to eat it, the squirrels and the whatever, that see it as food, you know, or because the earth's maybe too dry, or that as it grows and it's still a sapling, it's afraid of the storms or the wind. Hey, Maggie. How you doing, sweetie? You know, so it's just like that whole commitment, the stay, to put your roots down, to know that the flexibility in tapping in your root system to what do I need to learn here? Who can support me in this? Where can I find nutrient? Where can I find things that are going to feed me and fill me up and keep me aligned with my purpose and my vision, just like that tree or that little plant. That's the resilience of saying, I might be a little shaky right now, or I might be wondering if I'm ever gonna mature into this beautiful wise oak. But I'm willing to be the best sapling I can possibly be in this moment. You know, and just keep reaching for the sky. And taking the vitamin D and taking everything that's available to you to thrive. And I see so many of my clients that come out with heart and with vulnerability. And then they don't get a response from a program or an invitation or, to show up at a class or something the way that they want it to show up. And that expectation of it, that I'm putting it out there and why aren't people showing up? I've been there myself many, many times. And sometimes people tune in to these conversations and sometimes they don't. But my clients often, they'll put their tail between their legs and they whimper a little like a dog and they run away, right? So I invite you to use the power of stay. One of my incredible friends who's a beautiful horse whisperer, Hilary Schneider, was talking about this the other day. She's just invested like R1 million in buying a beautiful piece of ground in BC, because she's always had this vision of holding retreats and being a catalyst for other people through equine psychotherapy, through horse medicine, to show people what they came here to be. And, I totally agree with the power of commitment, to commit to your business, to stay with your business and grow with your business, be adaptable, be willing to change direction, stay with your land, stay with your home, with your relationships. Just stay so that the universe or the divine really gets that you're committed, that you're serious about staying for the long haul. I'm here for the long haul. And I realized this year was a big one for me. Turning 50, I realized how impermanent my life is. Time started to be a thing for me where I've never sort of been attached to age or aging or death and decline before. I was like, I'm doing this. I have limitless amounts of time to do this. But the honest truth is that we don't, right? We have human bodies. And depending on how much we're tormenting and abusing our bodies depends on how long we're going to be here. Hi, Pumza. Nice to have you here. Yeah. So what's coming up for you guys around commitment and the power of staying aligned to your vision and staying aligned to your message and your families and what you're growing? Does it make sense to you that, if you're not 199% committed, if you've sort of still got one foot in and 1 foot out, and you're always sort of looking for the exit, that the universe can't fully support you because you're ambivalent, right? It's that ambivalent style of attachment where we pretend that we don't feel and that people don't hurt our feelings, or that maybe we're not being honest with ourselves. You can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out and expect things to start to line up. Yeah, Plum's a tough one, especially because staying means investment of time. Yeah. And that's a big one, right? It's like, if you see the preciousness of life, and I love that you do, it's about purpose, right? It's about seeing yourself as your most valuable asset. It's about saying, I am valuable. What I have matters, right? It's about taking a leap of faith. That is a scary thing to invest in. Maybe I've had people invest in my programs when they haven't even had any money to pay next month's rent, but they've been resourceful and they've problem solved, and the solution is bigger than their pain of staying where they are. So they've problem solved. They've found a way to work with me because where they're at is not even an option anymore. And that's that commitment of investing, right? It's the commitment, whether that's investment of time or resources or money. That's the stay, right? Is being able to look at doubt and resistance always going to be there. So stop pretending that one day you're going to be beyond doubt, beyond resistance, right? It's part of our nature, it's part of our makeup to resist change. And I spoke about this the other day, that a lot of people, even though they say they've had enough, they haven't, right? I can't remember exactly what the story was, but something like, a man walks by and he sees another guy hitting himself over the head with a hammer. And he says, why are you hitting yourself over the head with a hammer? And he says, because when I stop, the pain's going to go away, or some version of that. And I just thought, well, you know what? Why do we have to keep hooking ourselves into that in order for us to live fully invested, fully committed, to stay no matter what, we have to suffer. We have to feel the pain. What if you hadn't been told that you have limiting belief systems? What would you do if you never knew? If that wasn't even in your vocabulary, a limiting belief system. If you were back as hunter-gatherer and you were out there doing what you do best, following your circadian rhythm, following the natural seasonal change of when to hunt and when to stop. The Achuar tribe have a beautiful saying, and I digress a little bit, but I think it's relevant to what we're talking about, that the men go out, right? They tell the men when to go out and chop down trees for warmth and hunt so they can feed their families. And when they look to the Western women, they asked, why are you not telling the men when to stop, that they have enough? And I think that's such a great question, because we're not telling ourselves when to stop, when to rest, when to stay, and when to go, right? There's a season for everything. Yeah. Hi, Eric. Yeah, so am I making sense, or should I know that it's time to go? or should we keep talking a little bit? Yeah. So, investment, what does it mean to invest in yourself? To take a stand and know that in order to create momentum, in order to create connection, you have to stay. You can't show up. And I'm guilty of this one myself, of being actually a lot more introverted than people think that I am. Great topic. Thanks, Eric. I'd love to know what your insight is on commitment and the stay. How do you stay? How do you trust your intuition? How do you trust your heart when your head is saying it's not working? Yeah, thanks, Punzara. It's so great to hear. All right, I'll keep talking for a while. Give me some questions. What kind of medicine would you like today? Who's speaking to you? How do you trust and take that leap of faith, in what you stand for, in where you're going, in what matters to you? I think goes back to that great question that's my eternal why, is what do you want? Because if you're not being honest about what it is that you need in this moment, what you desire and require, not a need as a place of lacking something, but what do you need? You can't know your no to stay. You can't know where to invest your time and your resources. So, I encourage all my clients, and I encourage you to really look at where you're being inconsistent in your life. Because you can't come and go at the same time, right? It's that push-pull. It's the duality that we're taught, that we have to choose one thing. That if I'm not getting what I want here, then I'm getting nothing. That total law of extremity. That's not true, right? It's the distance between, it's the bridge between heaven and earth that makes us who we are and makes us stay aligned to our core vision, aligned to our sense of giving with generosity because we can, not looking at the expectation of someone's gonna, in order for me to win, someone has to lose, right? All right, I just do, oh gosh, let me put my glasses on, because where are they? All right. Got some weird stuff going on with my eyes. I keep thinking it's because it's so dry, but I just think my body's tired. At the moment, staying is so hard. Yeah, Jocelyn, I totally hear you. And my question to you would be, is what do you love about making it hard? You know, in my warped sense of humor, I say the only thing that should be hard is a penis if you want it, nothing else. But the fact of the matter is that it is hard. It is hard to stay focused. It is hard to complete, especially when you're being pulled in a whole lot of different directions. You know, so what do you love about making it hard? And maybe a more open-ended question. Remember, I love to ask questions not from a place of conclusion or being right or thinking that this is the only way, but to look at, what am I missing here? Or who could I reach out to that could make this a more enjoyable process? I don't want to say easy, because sometimes the most growth comes when it is difficult, you know, when it is hard. But to see the gift in that place of stuckness, how do you handle staying when it feels as if you're stuck? Yeah, great question. How do you handle staying when it feels as if you're stuck? What is there that you're not getting? You know, what are you missing in that? Maybe you need to get clearer in your why, you know, and see what it is that you need to get from that place. You know, it's just like sometimes we fall down because there's something down there that's getting our attention. In the stay, you know, it's just like, be willing to stay in the uncomfortable part. I find that's really not fun, but it's certainly given me so much insight in my own journey, especially in my own health, to look at that place of what is it that I'm missing, right? What is it that is creating that idea of being stuck where there's actually movement happening? It's just, we've taught that everything has to be quick, that it has to be instant, that it has to be a magic pill. You know, and the stay requires patience, and that's something I'm not innately good at, right? I'm very impatient. I want the now. When I want the now, the ego wants what it wants. So, you know, patience is a big part of it, and anyone who's ever planted seeds in a garden knows it takes patience to reap the rewards, just like in your business. Consistently keep showing up, whether it feels like it's happening the way that you want or not. I think a big part of staying is noticing that no matter what the feedback is, you're going to go anyway, regardless of who follows, regardless of how many likes you get on Facebook, regardless of whether anyone's commenting or not, just to keep the commitment to keep going anyway and stick with it. You know, that's the stay. Eric says, friends and family members are an important part of the journey, especially those that allow me to be me. Absolutely. Consistency and courage. Yeah, huge. All right, it's telling me to see more. That can be increased when we get congruent with our intuition. Yeah, so congruency is a beautiful word. And, you know, when you tap into what it feels to be congruent, how does it feel in your body? And I love that because it's kind of flows onto what Jocelyn is saying about being willing to stay in the stuckness. You know, congruency for me is consistency. It is that place of saying, I'm committed to keep doing what I'm doing and focusing on the big why, because it matters more than your to-do list. It's got to be bigger than your to-do list, right? Otherwise we just get scattered and we start doing a lot of energy, and then we kind of beat ourselves up and judge ourselves because we haven't done anything at the end of the day. Yeah. So, you know, again, I'll say it again. You cannot come and go at the same time, right? That's the push and the pull and the resistance and the duality of the world that we live in. What if you could be omnipresent? Because it's part of our intuitive nature as spiritual beings in physical form. You can't be in two places at once. But I think the important thing here is, for me anyway, is presence. I think that's a great way to describe congruency. You know, what does congruency mean to you? For me, it's about presence. It's about letting people get to know who I am and connect with me and judge me, actually, right? I'm, like I said earlier, I'm always in that push-pull of should I stay or should I go? Because it's not comfortable to be seen. And I think that's a big part of being an entrepreneur. It takes a ton of vulnerability to just show up and be present with what is in the moment. And it would be a whole lot easier to just kind of be all in or all out. And like I said, I do that a lot. You know, I'll get a big boost of energy and I'll be excited about something and I'll kind of be all out. I do big bursts of extroversion, and then I kind of retract and I go back in my hole and I get busy with other things and I don't show up on things like this consistently. So that's something that I'm working on, is being able to have my pathway in the presence. Right, in the presence of you being witness to my journey, in the presence that we're all way more connected than we give ourselves credit for, and that's the currency that I love. Right, that's part of why I'm committed to keep doing this. And when I see myself beating myself up because I'm not as congruent or consistent as I would like to be, then I keep going anyway. Yeah, Eric. Find your path, connect with your tribe, use your rituals, and stay alert to the small things that change as you feel and connect to the pain. Yeah, you know, for me, it's like you can't heal what you don't feel. So that's that's great insight, is to be uncomfortable in how you're growing. Also knowing that there's a time where we don't always see the outside growth because we're tapping into the roots, we're regenerating and we're nurturing from there. So winter is a perfect example of that. You know, when you start to use the compass directions, and I have that class up, home study class, if anyone's interested in going with the flow through the compass directions. Sometimes there is no flow outwardly, but the energy doesn't stop moving. It's just underneath the surface, right? It's in the roots, so that you can bring in the nutrients and you can bring in the moisture and all the things that you need to have in place in preparation for springtime, when you start to have that outward growth in the new leaves and the new cycle, right? It's the death and the rebirth cycle. So yeah, I love that. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, so what is your path? You know, how do you connect to your tribe? How do you stay alert and aware to the minuscule change? What if it's in the consistency of small change that sometimes is so subtle you don't even see it, until maybe 6 months or a year later. And how many entrepreneurs actually give up because they're not seeing instant results. They're not rooting their vision in the stay, right? If you're not showing up, people aren't going to get to know you. They can't connect with you, and because they can't find you, right? And one of the most scary, vulnerable things you can do as an entrepreneur is get yourself out there. And you know what? You're going to have haters. I had some weird person the other day start talking on a thread where we were talking about anger and the potency of anger, if you're willing to express anger in a healthy way. And she said something that I couldn't even understand about, I don't know, she was saying that I look tired and I need to have a facelift or that I'm getting old. I don't know what she was on about, but it was like a total distract implant. You can't let the haters throw you off your path, right? And if you're really focused and clear on your message, on what you're doing, you're going to start showing up even more, because there are people out there that are trying to make you feel less than, right? Or doubt your stay. So don't take anything personally. I think that's one of the best things that you can do is also when you're an entrepreneur, you cannot take everything personally. You just can't, because you'll want to run away. And that's okay. Just keep going consistently. And maybe that looks like you write a blog when you don't feel like it, or you stay a little bit longer on a Facebook Live like this. You stay in a place where it's not comfortable for you just a little bit longer. Maybe it's 5 minutes longer. You stretch outside of your comfort zone, because that's really where growth occurs, right? Remember that sometimes it doesn't look like you're growing. It sucks. As Jocelyn was saying, can't let the haters throw you off your path. Damn right, Pumza. If anything, use it as fuel. Use it as fire to recommit to your message, to recommit to your business, to your life, to the work that you're doing with your unique talents and capacities. Because, at the end of the day, no one can do what you do the way you do it, because there's only one of you. And that's the part I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't see. They don't value that part. You were saying earlier, Pumza, investing in yourself. You can't do that. You can't commit to your stay if you're comparing yourself to everybody else, right? If you're trying to follow someone else's 5-step program, or 6 figures in 6 months, maybe you're not wanting 6 figures. It's about looking at why you're doing what you're doing in the first place, and following that no matter what. And I think that's a big part of not just our culture, but I see so much of this happening in consciousness circles and life transformational circles, is that there's this underlying insidious energy which makes me feel like, ew, I don't want to do that. I had a similar time a couple of years ago where I stopped making it public that I track lost animals, that I do Gestalt tracking, because I had so many broken people coming to me who'd been taken advantage of by the fraudsters out there, that were hooking into a very emotional component, and they weren't showing up in integrity. They weren't showing up from a heart space. It was all about the money. And I see, this is something that I'm really passionate about changing, is that I don't want, as much as I don't want, this is the push-pull again, as much as I don't want to be associated with the dark side of transformational businesses and life-changing businesses and modalities, is because so much of it is based in the fear, right? It's like buying a life policy, just in case something bad happens to you. There's a fear drive there. The motivation is to bring up fear. that, you know, if something bad happens to you, you need to have all of this stuff in place. And my awareness on that was that that's even more reason why I need to keep speaking my truth and doing the work that I'm doing, because of that, right? Because I know what it feels like to have been one of those people that bought every single course and did every single self-help module and bought every self-help book and went from pillar to post from one practitioner and one modality and, you know, one thing to another, because as much as I learned and as much as I grew, there was still this place of I'm not enough yet. Oh, you don't have enough yet. If you're still stuck in that, oh, you know, you need to do the advanced module of this. And I want to change that. You know, it's just like, give generously because you can. Because you're an untapped resource. You're never going to run out, right? It's like Women's Day coming up here. I did a summit a couple of years ago called the Courageous, Confident, Inspired Woman Summit. And I did it out of my own pain of seeing how separate women were in my local community, that they were not willing to celebrate other women doing amazing things in the health industry, in life transformation, because their belief system was that if I celebrate and recommend or do a shout out to this woman, then somehow I'm not enough, right? That there wasn't enough to go around. And that's that law of extremity again, where we need connection. We're not supposed to be on this journey on our own, right? We need each other. We need to have ourselves, hold ourselves. Oh, let me try that again. We need community. We need the mirror of our peers, of our support, of our mastermind groups, of our friends, to actually show us the greatest version, the potentiality, the congruence that Eric was talking about earlier, of where we're out of alignment, right? Of where we've got sidetracked by everything but the reason why we're doing what we're doing. You know, and I get it. We need to keep the lights on. We need to feed our families. So money is a big part of that energy of congruency of where are you making money bigger than you? And this is where I see so many entrepreneurs lose their joy in business, because the motivation isn't in the purpose of their work in the first place. It starts to become about, you know, I have to keep my clients hooked in, because I have to pay my rent. You know, you can't serve, you can't be aligned to lead with generosity if you're feeling lack and scarcity. So again, you know, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs in the health fields to fill their practices by heart selling, not hard selling, not by being hardcore, not by losing sight of why they chose to be in their stay in the first place, right? That you can totally have a successful practice and give so generously and be willing to say, I'm not in the business of repeat business. I want my clients to be their own medicine, right? So I'm willing for them to stay for as long as it takes for them to get what they want, but it doesn't become a codependent relationship. Okay. All right. How are you all doing? I don't even know how long I've been on here. But I'm probably going to end this now. I really wanted to just speak about commitment and your stay. And I hope I've done that today. Any other questions about commitment and stay and what we've spoken about? Otherwise, I think I'm going to jump off. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes. Eric. Oh, my friend Kippet, I spoke about this topic. Yeah, he has a clothing line called Machine Mode. I love that. But it does not mean crazy beast mode. Beautiful. Yeah, staying the path. Staying. Exactly, Eric. You know, we often don't know. Thank you for that. Yeah, even if one person connects with a video, keep on doing it. I can't agree with you more. You know, it's that, right? It's just like a lot of time in our work. It's that whole thing about not always seeing the growth, not seeing how many people you might have changed. Oh, I was having a cough while I lost the connection. But yeah, you know, a lot of times you don't even know whose lives you might be changing. And sometimes it comes back to us. You know, I'll get... All right, I'm back again. That would be a sign that we're done. But yeah, you know, it's just like a lot of times you don't even know whose lives you've touched. And just because there isn't feedback doesn't mean that it's not working. So, you know, it's just like I would say in wrapping this up is don't take anything personally. Consistently keep showing up. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep connected to your why. And even when you're outside your comfort zone, keep going, because that's the growth. And I just invite you to stay present, stay in the conversation. Let people experience all of you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, the snot nose, whatever it is for you. I stay with my commitment and my purpose to get my message out, regardless of if it doesn't look like I want it to look or people don't like it. And I'm committed to stay in it for the long run, right? I'm recommitting to be a contribution to the land that I live on, to the animals that are in my life, to my clients, to my family, to my community. Because I've been doing this for a long time, it's got a little easier, but I know my true nature systems work, and I know it's changing lives of people and animals because of the stay. I stay because I want people to be their own medicine, and I want you to fly, and I want you to take your mission and your vision and get really honest with your why and recommit. You know, do a commitment ceremony for yourself on the new moon. Leo's out. Leo's reminding us to play as well in the visioning process, in the commitment process. So don't forget to play. And again, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I so appreciate having people to play with, people to grow with and expand and vision a new earth where we all get to thrive and we make a bigger, generous impact, and a sustainable future for everyone, for the animals, for nature herself. So have a great rest of your day wherever you are. If you're just waking up in the States, good morning. Yeah, don't forget to play. Don't forget to nurture yourself. And thank you again for being here and for your commitment to be part of this conversation. And remember, you know, above all, that the world isn't waiting for someone like you. The world's waiting for you. Not a version of you, but you, because your work matters. So go out, be brilliant. Sending you lots of love. Mwah. Take care, everyone. Bye.